Call the meeting to order. Roll call, Kelsey, please.
Yes. Mr. Torby?
Here.
Ms. Leineke? Here. Ms. Perez, she let me know she'll be absent this evening. Mr. Day?
Present.
And Mr. Swingle is on his way.
On his way. Okay. We have in our packet the October 5th meeting minutes for review,
Okay.
and I need a motion to approve.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. And now reports from the environmental specialist.
Okay, so I told you all at the last meeting that we had our sea turtle lighting survey done. So I have some kind of preliminary numbers. I've done the painstaking task of searching through 94 identified violations and identifying
Oh.
exactly where they are and who they belong to. So that has been quite a task. But with that, we've identified, so there are 94. One of them is outside of city limits, so we cannot, it was not in our city limits, it was a property adjacent to us. 28 of them are possible streetlights owned by FPL, so we're addressing that with the Public Works Department. And then the remainder of them were either condos or hotels or parking lot lights that belong to a condo or a hotel. And then our current city code says that lights for turtle lighting can be enforced within 300 feet of the dune line. And all of these fall within 300 feet with the exception of 11. So there are 11 of these that currently do not fall under our code. Yeah. So I can send you guys those and we can look at it, because I know you all talked about the buffer zones and what areas to include, so this information might be helpful to see where these 11 are. But I can tell you a lot of them are in that like north of, where 4th Street, where it's A1A splits.
Yep.
It's from about there up to Shepherd Park is that area where these 11 are in.
It's a lot of.
And there's some of the, either parking lot lights or street lights or whatever that are
Yeah,
300 feet plus or.
most of them are tall things, like signs on top of buildings. Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll send you guys this report so you can kind of look through it.
Are any of them individual condo units or
So all of
hotel
So
units or
there
whatever?
were a couple of individual condo units, ones that had, like a light on the outside that would be permanent, but the way that the survey was done is because there was such an overwhelming number, instead of documenting every kitchen light or, light in a bedroom on, because those usually are extinguished by 10 p.m. to midnight, they just counted mostly external lighting or, stairway lighting, if there was stairs and giant windows, parking lot lighting and those types of things, more of the permanent lighting.
Yeah. I'm thinking like porch lights and such like that are.
Yes, there are a number of those in the survey.
Okay.
Yes. So we're working on typing those, notices of violation to let them know that corrections should be made to those properties before next turtle season. Working on that. Next is kind of exciting. There will be a redfish release in the South Thousand Islands from Ramp Road on November 11th. That's next Friday. Oh wait, no, it's this Friday. Sorry, this Friday. Happening between noon and 1 p.m.
On the 11th?
It's this Friday,
4th.
whatever that date is.
Be the
4th.
The 4th, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got confused. So on the 4th, eels will be present. There's a group from the west coast of Florida that's coming over to do it. I don't remember what organization they are though.
11 a.m.?
Between noon and 1.
Noon
They're
and
coming
1.
from like Clearwater, so they don't have an exact time.
Yeah.
But there'll be media there, so I'm assuming it'll be, within that window. And then lastly, there will be a workshop at the Maritime Hammock Preserve this Saturday, November 5th from 9 to 11:30 a.m. And we'll be cleaning up trash, removing invasive plants, and I also got 100 native plants to plant, 75 aquatic plants and 25 little shrub type things.
From 9 to 11:30?
Yes, so we need lots of volunteers for that if anyone is interested.
And that's Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So that's it, Kelsey?
Yes, that is all I have for you guys
Thank you.
today.
Okay. New business. Anyone have any new business tonight?
No, guess not.
Okay. So we'll move on to old business. The first item is the sustainability at city-sponsored events, styrofoam and single-use plastics.
So I can give you guys an update with where we are with this.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't have time to send it to you before. It's been kind of a process to get this through, but the last thing in your packet
Slow down.
is a resolution that I typed up, kind of following the Town of Indy Atlantic resolution, as well as I found Broward County had a very similar one, and I really liked all of the additional things that they have, like on the inside 2 pages, pages 2 and 3, that talk about definitions and exemptions. So for example, if a food truck at a city-sponsored event on city property brings chicken that is wrapped in a styrofoam container, the prepackaged, that's hard to avoid. So we don't want to penalize those businesses for that type of thing, but they wouldn't be able to serve food in one of these containers. So that's just one of those examples. I sent this to the city attorney and she's reviewing it now, but I thought since the committee's been discussing it, it would be good to, because it's a lot to look over, so if you want to provide feedback later, that's fine. The city manager likes this idea, and it will probably be appearing on a commission agenda within the next couple of meetings.
Okay.
Excellent. So,
This could be homework, take it home and look at it. And
Yeah.
any comments to you?
and Kelly brought in a listing, a price listing, a comparison between what may be environmentally friendly containers and stuff that starts on the plastic.
Up, here we go.
Did Todd get one?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what, yeah.
Any comments on it, Kelly? It's obviously costs more. to do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, some of it doesn't seem too off, which I was
Yeah.
surprised.
The one thing that really goes up is the to-go thing, the 9x9 to-go.
Yeah, and that's probably the most common.
Other than that, there's a few dollars one way or the other, seems like.
Oh, the 9x9.
So last week I took advantage of the Brevard County Resident Space Center admissions, which is a really good deal. We went to Space Center again, and they use these. I think these are the ones that
Compostable.
are supposedly compostable, but may not
In a
be.
facility.
But it's great PR because
But it-
yeah,
when you
sure.
buy your lunch there, the spoon, the knife, everything is in the same. The wrapper is compostable and the thing is compostable. I don't know what they do with it after they.
I always say with the Florida heat, obviously, if it's plant driven, it should break down sooner than anything.
Eventually.
We might reach that heat at some point.
It's not today.
So Kelly, I have a question for you
Yes.
about this. So the one that says like the 2-ounce fiber to go cups.
Yeah, those are like the little portion cups.
Yeah, so that's
For
like the
sauces.
$2,500 for $55.
Mm-hmm.
And then the plastic alternative is
I was shocked on that, yeah.
more expensive.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, I just
And
want
I
to
was
make sure I was
trying to
reading this
think,
right.
yeah, that's,
Hmm.
I don't remember the last time I ordered those from that local company. So date-wise, pricing might be a
Yeah.
little off.
Yeah, that's
The-
interesting, because 90% of the restaurants I've
Yeah.
gone to have got the paper cups for that little, ketchup or what have you that they're.
Yeah, the little sauce cups, the price for the plastic is what I pulled. I don't think they make styrofoam. Well, I guess they probably have styrofoam ones then.
Yeah.
But the most common are the plastic ones. We use the fiber ones. And yeah, it was actually cheaper, but again, I don't know when the last time I bought them from that local company. Cause I know, again, availabilities of some of these things can be
Yeah.
trying at times. I know I went through a hard time trying to find those. I was ordering off of Lime from a company. So that might have been a while ago, because I know the pricing for the wooden utensils, that was from 2020. I bought a bulk amount, so I'm sure those are probably up by,
Mhm.
by now too, so. And I did not look at the plastic
Yeah,
option, but
I would suspect the plastic is cheaper. if you go to-
probably. Mm-hmm.
If you go to some of the dollar stores, you can buy 50 for a dollar, so.
There's Wi-Fi.
See what plastic is. Do you have to log in for that, or is it just gonna,
It should be guest.
oh, guest, okay. And your password, okay.
Yeah, I think you just have to click and agree to something.
So here you have pretty comparable. Medium, heavy, 1,000 for 56.15 a case. So again, this is 2020, so.
For plastic.
I have 1,000 forks, plastic for 56.
Okay. So based off what you've seen, not overall like way more expensive or,
Right.
you know, this could be something someone would have to transition to. But
Yeah, and I was actually pleasantly surprised it wasn't too drastic. Like I said, I just kind of do it just to, sometimes looking at it, which maybe it's gotten better because more people are doing it. So the
Well, yeah,
cost
if the
wise,
demand's
the
higher,
demands
then
are here.
cause them to be able to produce more economically.
So I think this is some really great information to kind of relate back to the resolution. I think in here I put that the date for implementation will be June 1st, 2023. Does that seem reasonable? Like a 6-month time frame? I think we talked about that before.
Yeah, use up existing stocks and get new stuff, yeah,
I
that.
think you should make it Earth Day.
I was just gonna say that.
You think so?
That's what,
April
April?
20th,
April,
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that has a
Because,
better feel for it.
It's only
That's
like-
a great idea.
It's only like,
I
it's
kinda
just
had
over
that
a
thought
month
too. I was
earlier,
like, 6
so.
months is you know, you're gonna have, I don't think they stockpile product that.
I do,
Unless they're you, because you saw forks from 2020.
Well, yeah, that
Well,
was.
some people are gonna.
That was a hard time to get things
So I've got-
back then too.
I got 2 comments on the resolution, if you want 'em. Under the restrictions, it says, may not be purchased on city or used by individuals on city property. That seems, that's not enforceable. So city property would be a park. So if somebody comes in and plays golf and they come in with a styrofoam cup, you're gonna kick them out? You're gonna, I mean, the purchased by the city, I agree with, but that or used by individuals on city property, I think that is completely unenforceable.
Okay.
So that part, I would personally strike, because everything else you've got contractual controls over. And so those make sense, and they're all very enforceable, but that one gets pretty,
What line?
it would be
Okay.
under restrictions in
Restrictions
A
Okay.
sub-item 1.
Okay,
Third one,
Okay.
individual.
And then the other thing is, under the exceptions, I always like to, in resolutions like that, to give some appeal rights.
Okay.
So perhaps there would be, if, you know, that, you know, if the vendor's able to demonstrate that a product that they need is unavailable as, you know, in a eco-friendly,
or required by health department rules.
you know, something just that, you know, that'd be approved by the city manager, but it would be, they gotta demonstrate that there's not an alternative. But, so for me, I never like to write these things unless I am 100% confident that there won't be any exceptions. I usually like to at least give some, you know, it shouldn't be overly, it shouldn't be easy to use, but it, generally having something that acknowledges there may be special conditions that
Okay.
warrant it for me, that's one of the, so those were the two things that I saw.
What would be, would your, you
I-
mentioned city manager, what would we think the process would be for somebody to say, hey, I need a variance on this, I need an exemption?
I think this would go, like, when people apply for the special event permit, this is where I see this being
Yes.
a big
Yeah.
problem. They would just go to the special events committee. There's a committee for that, you know, they could say, hey, I can't find right now eco-friendly spoons.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is, and,
And the special events committee is our city employees?
yeah. Mhm.
FYI, first day is April 20th, 2023.
Really?
Yeah.
And this says April 22nd,
It's always April 22nd.
Saturday.
Maybe that's the weekend that,
Yeah, maybe 22nd, I may have read that wrong.
Yeah, I just Googled it, it says April 22nd, Saturday.
Okay, so we can, I can add something in under exemptions that says something, and the city attorney can probably help figure out the language for this. If the vendor can demonstrate that there is no eco-friendly alternative, then they can apply for special, you know, permission from the city manager.
yeah, maybe just,
For special
you know,
exemption.
where the vendor where the vendor demonstrates that there's no equally eco-friendly alternative, and it's and
22nd, yeah.
and it's approved by the special events committee, or
Mhm.
So that Friday is the third Friday, which is the Friday Fest,
The 22nd?
the 21st, which is that weekend.
Okay.
So it's doing the kickoff for,
Yeah. That'd be a great day. Technically it wouldn't go into effect until the next day, but.
we can make it for Friday, 21st.
I think Earth Day is a good day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody's homework then is to go back and
Read this.
read through this and send any other comments that you had to Kelsey.
Mhm.
And then Kelsey, if you'd let us know if you'd, so that we don't miss it on the agenda for the commission.
Yes,
Appreciate that.
right now I'm hoping to move quickly and get it on November 17th. But I will let you guys know. If it's not November 17th, I believe their December meetings are canceled, so it'll probably be January.
Okay. Anything else on that topic then? We'll move on. Okay, we'll move on to GB, Community Sustainability Awards. Criteria and project ranking.
Well, I can kind of give an update on this also, since Adria's not here. She's kind of been spearheading this. So Adria and I met with Commissioner Woolos at this recommendation of the city manager to see if Commissioner Woolos would consider supporting this program. She is definitely on board with the program. She thinks it's a great idea to bring some type of award and recognition to the community, and also to bring some attention to the sustainability committee and the things that this committee is working on through this program. So with that, what Commissioner Woolos needs from the committee is those guidelines and criteria and how it will be scored. We need to come up with some type of sub-final draft of that, and then present it to Commissioner Woolos, and she would like to bring it to the commission, and kind of present the idea and the award, and ask for their support as well. So that's kind of where we are. But I let you guys know at the last meeting that I'd pull together some examples of scoring criteria. So there's several examples here. I know Bob sent an example today. That's in your packet as well. And yes.
Yeah, and I sent you sent these out, the sustainability criteria I sent you a couple weeks ago, but,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't print that out. I
Yeah.
can pull it up though.
I've got it.
If you guys just.
that's kind of a compilation of several things that I've worked on over the years, so.
I just have a comment on Department of Energy one that you sent out, and the scoring criteria, the first column is one through 4. So that means everybody starts with a 1, as opposed to.
No zeros.
Yeah, there's no zero, which is like, wow, that's very generous of somebody. 'Cause
Or if you submitted an application,
you
you get a one.
get a 1 in all the categories. It's a little unusual. A lobbyist involved there somewhere.
Yeah, the one I submitted this afternoon has, really gets down into the weeds. It gets pretty definitive, so. I don't think we need to get quite that involved, but again, it's an example of something that might
And,
consider.
and is the goal to have a limited number of awards, or what, I don't remember.
So from discussions at the last meetings, sorry, I didn't print out that whole page again, because I printed it out before, but Todd, I can get that to you. It will be 1 award per year annually, is that correct, guys?
That's what we said last meeting.
Yeah, I
As
think we're
opposed to
going to
having-
start off with
Yeah,
one,
just the
or
one.
until we get our feet under us and that sort of thing, and then we're perhaps add more as time goes on.
Okay. I know I wasn't here, but my only concern on that's, when you try to, you do want it to be kind of elite and special. I think that'd be my guess, that's where the group was at. But I think the other thing is to having people be, to have the to keep people engaged with it too. So one thing I've seen done some is where, and I think your last one here kinda is somewhat set up that way, but is where you maybe have thresholds for your applicants, and that everybody that applies that hits certain threshold points, maybe you're silver, gold, platinum, but then you truly pick one special award that you make it as a difference. So that might be a way to combine things a little bit to help keep some engagement, so that if somebody if people are going to the trouble to at least apply, having something, and maybe it's as simple as they get a little sticker that they can put on their front door that says 2022 Cocoa Beach Silver Sustainability Award winner, but then make a big darn deal out of the one that you're trying to get to. Just, I don't know, for me something like that, because it's just, and maybe I'm just stuck on it too, but I've always had the vision that the more that we connect with all the local businesses and make being part of the sustainability community an ongoing thing, that's that snowball effect and building momentum over time, and we're actually doing something similar with some employee awards at work, where we've got certain thresholds that you can do, but then make a big deal of a small subset of awards that you can control better, and that you can leave, make it special, and all those kinds of things too. So.
I like the concept, because I think of Florida Today does these Organization of the Year awards for nonprofits, and they always have 3 finalists for all the different categories, and the 3 finalists get a lot of PR and recognition, even though they select one to say, and here's your Organization of the Year, or your Volunteer of the Year, that type of thing. So I like the idea of having exposure, how you want to say it, for people that are nominated and meet some. And I would have to think, when we get our final thing together here, what it looks like, that anybody who nominates or gets nominated, there's going to be something good to say about.
Right. I think we said that everybody that sent in a package or whatever would get, like Little League, you get a trophy, but get some sort of not necessarily award, but at least a certificate that they've submitted or participated or something along that line. admittedly, you're probably right. You're gonna have levels above that, but you know, just a certificate of participation.
Yeah,
or-
no, I think that's great too, but if you hit, again, if you hit certain thresholds, that allows people also to think about progression and,
Right,
you know, continuous improvement
Right,
on
right.
things as well, so.
right. One of the things we discussed too was the possibility that people could come, you know, they could see how scoring was done on the award, so they get an idea of where they fell short or did well.
So maybe kind of along those lines with the bronze, silver, gold, or the thresholds. I know the committee had previously talked about considering having a top or a certain number of people or projects come present to the committee. So I don't know if you want to rank them that way and pick like a top 5 or a top 3, and then they come present, and then after that the final rankings are determined.
That's cool.
I have to hesitate on that, in that I know that some businesses or some organizations, maybe, that may be a pretty big task to ask them to do that, to present. So I kind of have mixed feelings about that. And the other thing is, some people just don't like to speak in front of anybody else, and they may be doing an amazing job with, you know, some of the
Never had
sustainability
experience.
criteria, but please don't ask me to present it, that type of thing, so I don't know. Any other thoughts? Am I the only one with the hesitation?
Plus it involves a fair amount of time to do that too. It depends on how many you bring in, so. If we're only gonna have one category and bring in 5 people, that's, you know, give them 15, 20 minutes apiece, that's a couple hours, so. You know.
Moving on, look at notes from last month. I think Kelsey suggested that we consider the UN criteria, sustainability criteria, as part of.
Yeah, I
Is
put
that-
that,
is
I put
that
that
in-
on, I put that on
That's
my
in- that's
list.
in yours? Okay, I don't know if it's in the other ones.
Yeah, so I can just review, since I didn't print it out for you all tonight, the award evaluation criteria that you guys have identified is: number 1, has a positive impact; number 2, embraces innovation/creativity; number 3, is transferable; number 4, I missed one; number 3 is overcome challenges.
yeah.
Yes, number 5 is demonstrates initiative, and then number 6 is demonstrates progress towards one or more of the United Nations. It's sustainability development goals.
Okay. The first 5 were in Adria's draft from last meeting, but number 6 you threw that in, okay, that's good. Okay, so where do we go from here?
Can you just repeat those again?
Number 1 has a positive impact, and it says the project must have a meaningful and demonstrable or measurable impact in Cocoa Beach by helping protect the environment or enhance the quality of life for residents. Number 2 is embraces innovation/creativity. The project should reflect a new concept, technology, or practice and should employ new ideas in the industry or community. Overcomes challenges is number 3. The project should explain what challenges were overcome. Number 4 is transferable. The project should be able to be replicated by others in similar situations. Number 5 demonstrates initiative. The project should reflect how the individual or group took action to move sustainability forward in their position or in their community. And then number 6 is demonstrates progress towards one or more of the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals.
Would you envision equal weighting or weighting on those, or?
I don't think we're that far yet.
Yeah, so that was the discussion tonight with these different, scoring criterias and different ways to do it, and some can be worth more points and some can be worth less points, and maybe the less important questions or whatever the committee feels is less important could be weighted less.
One comment on some of these examples. I'm more interested in content. Seems like some of the things, like reading the executive summary, to me is like That doesn't do anything for sustainability.
Yeah, I think that one is like a grant application.
It is.
So
Yeah,
I wouldn't get held up on like the technicality of all of these things. I mean, some of them are for invasive plant removal, which is not related at all. But more just how it's scored and different types of categories.
well, if we look at these 6 that you listed there, and the first one, having a positive impact, to me, should be the one that has the most weight as far as criteria is concerned, because if it doesn't, doesn't have a positive impact, then what's the point? Would we want to just do, 10 points each on each one of these things, or would you want to weigh one more than the other?
Like a scale of 1 to 10 on each.
I mean, but we could we could weigh them too. We could say,
Yeah.
that one's 20, and that one's 30, that one's 10.
So equal like 100 or something like that?
Yeah, you could do that. It makes it nice and simple, but adds up to 100. So it makes it
Start at the bottom, and I think overcomes challenges may be a little less important than some of the others. Transferable is, most of the rest of it. Mm.
What's the timeline for thoughts about getting this to Commissioner Wallace and then getting it to the commission?
Ideally, she brings this to her fellow commission in January. That's the timeline that we discussed.
So we've got 2 more meetings to struggle through this, or actually, one more.
One more.
And then hopefully that would keep it on track for your guys' timeline to have the award presented on Earth Day.
Yep. So is this something we could poll in on remotely?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, by via email or something, saying,
Mhm.
taking these 6 things and saying, here's how we would weigh them type thing, and then have the results of that for our next meeting and try to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that we're prepared, and Adria's not here either, and
Yeah.
we're championing it, so I like her thoughts on it too.
Is there any feedback as far as, I know we've already talked about maybe like demonstrates overcoming challenges could be weighted less, like this type of feedback that I could provide to Adria because she might be working on this
Yeah.
herself. So any feedback like that, rather than waiting till the next meeting, then she has to go home and then finish it all.
Well, then again, my input on it is number one should be
Yeah,
the heaviest
yeah.
weight. What has a positive impact?
Yeah.
That's,
Transferable to me would be a little less important.
I
but-
mean, I think all the other ones are nice, but
Yeah.
they're not as meaty as that first one.
Yeah.
What did you do that had a positive impact
So.
in Cocoa Beach and the surrounding community?
So make them add up to 100?
There was one in there about progress, right?
Initiatives, challenges. I think I missed one. Creativity.
That was last meeting's handout.
A simple way to do it, Kelly just said, could add up to 100.
Yeah.
Put 50 on number one, and the other ones have 10 each, and end up with 100. But on the other hand, somebody could have an amazing project, amazing 50 points for the first one, and have nothing.
So like, what do we envision to be, like, what what would you expect is gonna win this award?
Well, I think our first thought was the project that the Roosevelt has undertaken, that's been presented to us a couple times.
The Freedom
That's-
7.
That was, I think, one that we thought probably would be our number one in that, number one award possibly. Beyond that, it's a good question.
That's my only concern, is that this feels like this feels written for big awards, and I get that, but, you know, to develop all the criteria for, I guess for me, I personally like to see it simple enough that we can, again, get momentum, but that a big project would stand out as well. So this feels to me like it would, so is part of our goal that a restaurant that's deciding to make a conversion to, you know, utensils and stuff, that they would at least be able to get some sort of recognition, or that there's, you know, I don't know, a condo complex is doing something, and, you know, I don't know, that's my only concern.
Want to recognize small steps as well as big ones, is I think what
That's,
you're saying.
yeah. I get the highlighting the big ones, I mean, I'm totally on board with it, but I get fearful of how much there is out there, whether it's, and maybe I'm missing the boat on that, maybe there's plenty, I don't know.
Well, I think doing, instead of just the one year, doing the tiered thing, I mean, that keeps that momentum going, and a couple people are getting the recognition also, but still pushing to
Yeah.
continue doing what they're doing for the next year, you know, and coming back again.
But like the positive impact, absolutely, you know, to me, like the innovation, creativity, I think that's a good differentiator one. I don't know about the overcoming challenges, for me, that one's, but one for me that would be that it's a demonstrated, you know, progress. So like that way you could encourage people to continue to apply year after year, so that if they're making steps forward, you know, that they make a step one year and then they
Resubmit year 2, year 3, year 4.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the demonstrated initiative.
And are you doing it once you win it, you don't reapply for other years, or is that?
You mean if you win like the very top one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, that's one of the reasons you put in like take the continual progress, because if you can't just ride on having done something.
Right.
One and done.
So for me, something about the continual progress is kind of an important piece in there.
So when you say continual progress, do you mean if somebody did a project like 10 years ago and they put solar panels on their house, like does that qualify? Or do they have to have done something within the past 2 years to continue to progress forward? Or do you mean if they want to reapply next year, they have to show that they've made progress from where they were when they first applied?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I would get that, too.
You can't have like a repeat.
One year you do solar, next year you do high efficiency AC, next year you do, I don't know, something or other.
And that's just one perspective. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so of the criteria that were listed, the committee agrees that has positive impact should be a heaviest weight.
Yep.
I'm gonna rank them like heaviest, medium, and low, just to give Adria something to work with here.
Okay.
What about embraces innovation and creativity? Should that be included? Should it be heavy, medium, low?
Yeah, but it's a kind of a medium score on
Yeah.
that. Overcomes challenges, I think as Todd and both myself have mentioned, is probably down towards the end. Transferable, somewhat of a medium thing, because it's so that not everything is necessarily transferable.
I mean, most people aren't gonna be developing technologies and stuff. It's gonna be, they're gonna be doing something
Something that
is-
somebody else did somewhere else probably. Demonstrates initiative.
See, that to me is, that overcoming challenge and demonstrating initiative are, for me, about the same thing, but.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, they are similar.
But either
yeah,
way.
you could marry those.
Put it this way, if they're separate, I would think they should be rated similarly.
Yeah, I would say have like one main top one and then the rest kind of equal parts. Cause if you, cause that kind of limits some of the fields.
Say that again?
Like, he was saying the number one, like, rank that as like the top, but then the rest of them kind of be equal parts.
So you want
The one main
embraces
focus.
creativity and overcomes challenges, and all of the other ones to be like a low.
Equal part, I would say.
Makes it simple.
Maybe you count the impact double and everything else is the same.
Well, again, if you wanna make it add up to 100, you could say number one's 50 and the rest of them are 10, then you get 100.
Yeah.
Well,
Maximum.
50's a big chunk there, I don't know.
That's the meat of it, though.
It is, it is.
So let me ask you this question. I feel like scoring these might be difficult if there are not, it's going to be very subjective.
Yeah.
So if you guys look at the way that some of these other examples are broken down, is they have different things under these categories. So for example, if you ask them to describe the United Nations Sustainability Development Goal, and they're like, I chose Development Goal 10 because my project's aligned with that. Okay, you get 10 points because so did everybody else. They identified the goal. So I think there needs to be something else that's like, I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
but something else. So that it's not just everybody gets 10 points because you're awesome. Though they're all gonna be awesome.
Right, different, categories within those categories, in a sense, to keep it on track.
And that's kind of what the NEP one does.
Yes, it will.
Which one's the MEP?
It's the last one. that's in
You know, with positive impact, maybe it could be in that it's said that you have to show that you've made a meaningful or demonstrable or measurable impact in Cocoa Beach. So maybe it could be, how many people did you reach? Did you reach between 10 or 0 and 10 people? That's 1 point. Did you reach between 10 and 30 people? That's 2 points. And that can be a subset of this 50-point goal. Maybe that all equals, you know, however many points. I don't know if that would even
I like
apply
that.
to all projects.
Yeah.
Maybe something that ties to the magnitude of the impact to not only reach, but whether it's, maybe it's percent reduction in whatever you're trying to reduce, whether it's GHGs or water or
It gets,
waste or.
the challenge is when when you have the criteria defined down to a certain detail level, it may apply to one project and not
but
the
not
others.
to another.
So that's why the subjectivity
Yeah.
comes back, and it
Yeah.
has to, I guess.
Again, the number of people that it applies to, that may not be a good fit for some projects. People, acres, houses, I don't know. It's,
But I think that could be like
The
a
other-
subset of the
so,
category.
this doesn't apply if we, to try to come up with, these thresholds, but if you're gonna truly just do, one, if you wanna just make this the big deal and take one project, I almost think you like, so, like a lot of selection committees in government and stuff, you'll list criteria and have each member rank.
yeah.
So like one of the things that I've historically done, because people score, the scores are all over the map.
Yeah.
So one of the things you can do is say, here's the criteria we're gonna use, and based upon that, you're gonna have a selection committee that's 5 people, and you're gonna rank all the projects. And so their top project's 1, their second project's 2, you average all the numbers, and the one with the lowest number wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And forget about all the scoring, and just have everybody rank their
They make it too
projects based,
complicated.
We talked
and do a
about that
selection
last time.
committee of 5 people, but define what the criteria are, but without specific scoring, just these are factors that will be considered in the ranking, and leave yourself flexibility, and, rank them 1 to 5 and take the average and be done with it.
Yeah.
It's simpler.
Yeah, initially start off with perhaps what we stuck, the 50, 10, 10, 10, and then again, whoever's ranked, as you say, rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you go for the lowest down, lowest
Yeah, the
down.
problem with the scoring is, are you gonna, so just think through how this is gonna work. So if you put, let's say, the 3 of you are in the committee, are you gonna come up with a consensus scoring amongst the 3 of you? Or,
Individual.
okay, so now what happens when you gave them a 50, but somebody else didn't like it, they only gave them a 20?
Yeah.
So then that's why I personally like forcing people to rank rather than score, because people just have different scoring thresholds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so unless your rubric is really clear, which gets hard to do, unless your rubric is really clear, people just inherently have these different scores. And somebody that,
Yeah.
like, I'm a low scorer.
Mhm.
Well, your
And so-
point is well taken. I'm looking at this Department of Energy thing, which is really detailed. And it's, the first thing is the first page is performances. So you get 1 to 4 points if you did not impact or nominally impacted sustainability. 5 to 7 if you marginally impacted, and then 8 to 10 if you demonstrated significant. But all those are subjective. There's no criteria in there to say,
Yeah.
what exactly is an 8 versus a 6? So I think your point's well taken about ranking.
I know when I review these things, I go through, read them all first, and you probably do the same thing. Look at them, read them, then go through, maybe score them, and then look at how that came out with the ranking. And if it doesn't align with what my thoughts are, how maybe I may adjust them back.
You're
and
ranking
forth.
them anyway.
Yeah, yeah. But then I go back and my final cut is the ranking the project by project, 1, 2, 3, 4. But
We do this with procurement all the time, and
Oh,
in
yeah.
almost every instance, have gone to trying to go to rankings more so than scoring, just because
Mhm.
it helps dampen out some of the variability in the reviewers.
yeah.
So I've seen this done in a combination of those ways, and this is how we score our our RFQs for the city. So we have it's in your packet, I included an example. So there is like an individual will score all of these different categories
Yep.
with these maximum point values. But so if I scored, maybe I gave them for firm profile, I gave them a 5, and then I gave them an 18 for technical approach. Then I take my individual scores based on like a scoring criteria, and I say, okay, so firm number 1 had 78 points, so they're number 1. Firm 2 had 72
Yeah.
points. And
Yeah.
that's how we've done it, just to be able to provide people some feedback. So instead of saying like, Kelsey subjectively said you're firm or you're number 3, but here's her scoring sheet to show how you scored. And I do think that maybe local businesses and groups would like to see those and
Yeah.
have it provided by the committee so they can
Yeah,
see
that's
how
a
they
good
can
approach.
improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were worried about that too, like maybe somebody really just would tank one firm. That
Mhm.
way you kind of buffer that out and each person reports based on their scores. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, that's a good approach.
It's fine. That works.
So then for each one of these, back to the, in Adria's draft thing, for each one of those things, you could follow this model here and have each one of them broken out into points and also some specific things, bullets about what's in there.
Yeah, again, for the 5 or 6 categories we've got, we do the same thing as we have in the dredging project here. With some bullets on how that,
I think you guys can play, I think you can play with the numbers, but what I'm hearing, everybody says that number 1, the positive impact, is, should be carry the heaviest weight, and the others are all pretty similar.
yeah,
So you could play with those, whatever. I mean, there's 5 of them. If you made them, 12 points apiece, then that'd be 60 spread through those, and 40 of the rest. You could make it 13 points apiece, and it would be 50, 65 to 30, and then the impact would be 35. So my gut feels probably somewhere in that 12 to 13 on the others, and the remainder on the impact probably is pretty close.
well, you are gonna work with Adria, obviously, as you mentioned, Adria probably has some thoughts on this already, and you've
Yeah,
gotten some input
Yeah, I know
tonight.
she's been working on this, she just had, something where she wasn't able to make it at the last minute. So I can take this, I took a bunch of notes and I can send it to her and see
Yep.
kind of what she has and, cause we don't wanna duplicate work, so I want someone else to start working on this.
Right, do the Vulcan mind meld of the two.
Okay.
So then our expectation would be to revisit this at our next meeting. And see,
Get it pretty
get the
well
latest
finalized.
draft.
Yeah,
Yeah, so by the next meeting, I'll try to work with Adria and have something that looks like this or one of these.
I like this,
This
it's
is just
simple,
simple, yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and it can address the
Straightforward.
6
Yeah.
things that we're talking about.
These other ones are.
Well, this will be
busy.
easy, cause I have the template, so we can just update all of the things.
There you go.
I like this.
okay.
Further discussion on this, or are we good for now? I feel like we're making work for Adrian. This is kind
Is
of.
that
That's what-
how it's done?
That's what happens when you miss a meeting. No,
That's a good.
I shouldn't say that.
Okay, if there's nothing further on that, then we'll move on to committee member announcements.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that the Cape Canaveral was doing a sustainable stormwater meeting on the 10th of November, 2:30 at the Cape Canaveral Library, and saw that, some announcement on that, and it sounds like that maybe some interesting topics that they have to offer.
What day is the 10th?
And
What was
I
that
think
on?
November 10th.
Or the topic was?
It's a sustainable, either sustainable or stormwater,
Oh, okay. I will be there.
topics, okay?
have a table.
Yeah, okay. And interestingly enough, Indian River Lagoon Day is in Melbourne at Front Street Park on the 5th.
I know.
So
They
we'll
asked
be-
me to go to that too, and I
We
was like,
may
"I
have to hit that in the afternoon after working at Maritime Hammock, so, any case. And Maritime Hammock, I assume you're gonna bring some herbicide and probably some of the transplant shovels to, if we
So
have.
I can bring shovels, but I can't give volunteers herbicide,
Yeah, I
so I
know.
will not have that.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe I'll
Sorry.
maybe I'll sneak some in, but any case.
I can't give it to you.
I know, I understand.
I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, yeah. All right, any case, but yeah, the shovels to get some of that guinea grass out there, some of those long transplant shovels will work pretty well. Because there's enough guinea grass in there to keep us busy for a few minutes, so.
You can be the lead of the guinea grass volunteers.
Oh, golly,
You know
great.
where it all is.
Any case, or what it is, so we don't dig out some of the good stuff that's in there, so, any case. All right, that's what I have.
I have the Save Our Indian River Lagoon is looking for members in several
That's right.
different,
Yeah.
of the criteria. Let's see, Kelsey, I just sent you 2 emails on that forwarded from Virginia, so maybe if you can distribute those to the group.
Yes.
But if you could, post that on your Facebook account or anything, just to try to reach people, just to generate applicants. Let's see, I think, let me tell you real quick forget what they are. Which areas? Oh, here we go. Real estate, technology, finance, and tourism. So it's pretty loose in those categories, so.
Are there people that are all, that would have to be reapplying, or are they gonna be cycled off, or do you know how that's?
I think it's all of the above. So I know, like for finance, I was the finance alternate, and Courtney Barker
Mhm.
was the primary voting member, and she stepped down, and so I got bumped up to the voting member, which
My condolences.
and so they're looking for an alternate
Yeah.
for that. So
Are those positions supposed to cycle every so many years, or?
they
do you know?
have, I forget, they're either a 2 or 3 year term, and I think you can have 3 subsequent
Okay, can take it.
terms, and if you go beyond that, it's got to be approved by the county commission.
Okay.
So, but anyway, if you know of anyone that's interested, or anyone's interested, then consider applying for that. And if nothing else, if you can just get that out and get it visible. We need good representatives.
Yeah. One thing I meant to bring up, it's a kind of a personal gripe that I have. As you know, we're going to have the Christmas parade coming up on December 4th or 5th or something like that, and one of the big things is the shower of candy that's thrown out by those folks. I know over the years, I've worked with KBV and doing their cleanup, and we've come up with half a dozen 5-gallon buckets half full of candy that's left in the street, and I know that there have been times that they have been asked to have people go and hand candy out rather than throwing it, and I don't know if that's something that we want to get involved in or not, but in any case, again, it's kind of a personal gripe, so.
I'll see who I can put a word in with on that one.
Yeah, I understand, because I know the commissioners do throw the candy too, so. But again, if you go to, we pick up a ton of it after, when we're the last group before Santa Claus, so. Any case, either that or have the street sweeper go down the parade route the Monday after or something, but any case.
Well, isn't it in the water?
No,
No.
the regular parade, not the boat parade.
Oh, okay, the golf cart parade thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is the Christmas parade.
Okay.
The boat parade has its own problems, I'm sure, so.
I don't think most of them are imbibing with candy.
Probably not. Any case. Yeah, any case. Again, personal gripe.
I make sure.
Oh, yeah, one thing I did bring today was some of the things we talked about was awards, and I brought some examples, some stuff that we've gotten over the years. This is your typical award thing, if we're gonna recognize somebody again, second or third level. Here's another version that somebody that, unfortunately, the photograph is faded, but it's got a little plaque on it. And then you can do this kind of thing too. This is kind of, I like these. These are really cool because you can set them on your desk or use them as a paperweight or whatever, in any case.
That's where I don't.
But, again, those are some of the examples that you might consider for using for awards at various levels.
Cool, thanks, Paul.
Okay.
Other
I'm
committee
done.
member announcements? Anybody else? Okay, it's time for public comment.
Okay.
One at a time, one at a time.
State your name.
We need to promote these meetings.
Yeah. All right, then we're adjourned.